Ladies and gentlemen, today we have a very interesting video because we have some really shocking Nintendo Switch 2 news. Some of it, I feel like I said this maybe like a week ago that this was going to happen, and now it seems like, well, the stuff is going to happen. But we also have some very interesting leaks as well as some very insightful updates, and yeah, all very shocking and exciting stuff. Let's go and get right into the video. So normally I say I don't know how many days we have left, it's just this many or that many. I technically have 2 weeks left. In 2 weeks, I'll be waiting like another 12 hours or something because I'm going to the midnight release, baby. That's right around the corner, man. This is crazy. I've seen somewhere that it was like 3,000 something days between the Switch and the Switch 2 launch. Regardless, we have some very shocking news today. So before we get started, if you could hit a like and subscribe, that would really mean the world to me. Follow your boy on Twitter and Instagram so we can keep our community growing. And as always, stay tuned to the end of the video so you can get some details about winning a Switch 2. But let's go ahead and get into this video. So first, let's get into this update about voice chat. I am happy that it's back. And I do think voice chat will be used, but I don't think like the whole camera system will be used. Yesterday I was saying I think voice chat would be underutilized and like really not a thing. What I meant to say is like that whole camera aspect of like putting your face in the screen and playing with your friends like that, like maybe it will. To me, we more just care about like the proximity chat and be able to talk to the other people, right? Well, obviously this comes with some rules and regulations. We have an update right here that says, during a game chat session, a recording of the last 3 minutes is saved on the device for moderation purposes. If you report someone for inappropriate behavior, it will be sent to Nintendo. Nintendo does not have access to the recording unless someone is reported. But I just don't get it. It's like only the last 3 minutes that they can report or that they can pull up. So if you're talking crap to somebody for 5 minutes, just keep it chill for the last 3 minutes. You know what I mean? Say the worst stuff you got to say first, then drag it on. And then Nintendo will be like, well, we've listened to 3 minutes and everything seems to check out here. Everything's good to go. So yeah, I mean, how do you enforce something like this, right? And isn't that the point of voice chat? To be able to talk crazy, to say insane stuff, to build tough skin for your online persona. I think that's what people need, man. People are too sensitive. So yeah, we'll see how this plays out. So in the past couple weeks, Nintendo has been filing quite a few trademarks. Some of them are like, okay, I understand what's going on here. Nintendo has filed a new trademark for a game that I didn't play. I know very minimal about even what it is, but it seems like this is not just your standard trademark. This seems like this game is probably going to get a remaster or remade entirely, and that's pretty cool. So Nintendo has filed a new trademark for Hotel Dusk Room 215 in Japan. And as far as I know, this is basically like a point-and-click adventure for the DS. I want to say maybe like some kind of horror game, something, but I just remember seeing the artwork for the DS. I have no idea what kind of game it is. But right here they say you would think this is just a renewal for the old patent, but it doesn't seem to be. In Japan, the game had a different name and it was called Wish Room Angel's Memory. And the trademark for Wish Room was renewed in 2015 and is still valid until 2026. So the whole fact that they're renewing a trademark for a Hotel Dusk Room 215 and not Wish Room, I really do think that means this game is going to show up one way or another. Some people down here were saying maybe we'll get DS Classics. That, I mean, yes, we could get DS on the Switch, but it's like, at this point, I think it makes more sense to remake a bunch of DS games. The same way they did Another Code, Recollection, the same way they did Ghost Trick. Just remake those games, right? Make it all work on one screen. And they'll just make more money that way. But yeah, this is going to show up one way or another. Now, I think I'm going to make a video about the Nintendo Switch 2 launch games. I've been waiting to do it, and like my opinion on them, because I was going to see if we'd get a new Nintendo Direct and maybe some new stuff would be announced. But to be honest, it's kind of seeming like that's not going to be the case. So what we have is what we'll get, you know what I mean? And I feel like it's not that great of a launch, but I'll probably make a video on that. But one game I am very surprised to see and that I think is obviously worth playing, but I still think it's going to be underrated even when the Switch 2 is out. And that is the sequel to Fast RMX, which was a Switch launch game, Fast Fusion. This is a must-buy game. One, it looks incredible. Two, it's only $15. We could go on to 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 20 reasons, right? And we're about to get into a lot of those right now, why you should buy this game. So 8K shadow mapping in ultra quality mode just announced for Fast Fusion by the game developer. Put that sentence in any Switch 2 related topics a year ago. You would say, could you imagine, right? That'd be pretty crazy. This is reality on the Nintendo Switch 2. This is the reality when games are developed directly for the Nintendo Switch 2. Yes, I think a lot of these third-party ports are impressive and cool, but it's like, you'll probably get a better experience playing them on other consoles. This is incredible right here. So this is the performance modes right here. We have performance 1080p 60 frames per second HDR. That's incredible. Balance mode 1440p 60 frames per second. Quality mixed 1080 and 60 frames HDR menus, HUD overlays in 4K, and ultra quality 4K 30 frames per second. This is actually a game that I think you would want to play in 60 frames per second though. HDR, super sharp visuals, ultra level detail, ultra quality, 4K, 8K shadow maps. This is insane. And then the same thing seeing this in a handheld. Like, yes, docked, it's going to look amazing. And if you have a nice TV, it's going to look even better. But handheld, seeing this performance and still having the ultra quality mode, I mean, will I use it? Probably not, because like I said, I'm not a frames per second person. I don't really care that much, like at all. But in racing games, I think it is nice to have. So I'll probably go with performance mode, but just the fact that it's there is so crazy to me. So shout out to the people who made Fast Fusion. If you don't know what to buy this. It's a Switch 2 game. It's exclusive to the Switch 2. It's got all this incredible performance. It's only $15. This is the type of stuff we should support, that we should campaign behind, and let them know we appreciate that. So yeah, this is a day one buy for me, obviously. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we have quite a bit of updates coming from Nintendo, Samsung, and Bloomberg. You've probably seen a lot of these articles going around, and yeah, I want to talk about them because some of it, it's like, I told you like last week, some of this stuff was going to happen. I made a video about how I think we're going to get a white Nintendo Switch 2, and I showed you tons of evidence for them being manufactured, SKU numbers for them, just all this stuff. And I was even saying it's probably going to be an OLED model. It might follow the same patterns. That seems like that could happen, but regardless, let's get into this first. Nintendo and Samsung partner up to ensure 20 million Nintendo Switch 2 consoles can be sold by March 2026. This is crazy. I talked about this briefly yesterday. I said analysts said this, but now seeing like Bloomberg articles about it, pretty crazy stuff. And I think it could be a reality. 15 million was what Nintendo was saying, and from what I'm understanding, they were saying 15 million was a conservative number. And the reason why they said only 15 million is because I think they said they think that the consumer would think the price is too expensive. I could be wrong, or I could have read it wrong, but even Nintendo themselves was like, the console's pretty expensive, the games are pretty expensive, so we think conservatively 15 million consoles. And that's like, what are you talking about? That's insane. But that's not really the thing I want to talk about. Bloomberg reports that Samsung is pushing to supply OLED panels to Nintendo for a Switch 2 refresh. A Switch 2 OLED model might happen in the future. And in this person's opinion, they say 2029, 2030 if true. The Switch came out in 2017. The Switch OLED came out in 2020, I believe. 2028, we could definitely see this happen. I don't think we wait until the mid-generation to get that Switch OLED. If they make a white Switch 2, which all the evidence is pointing towards that they are going to make one, it kind of makes sense to follow the same formula like as the Switch OLED. Like the white Switch 2 is a white Switch 2 OLED, right? Let me think. The Switch launched with gray Joy-Cons, and we also had the red and blue. But when the Switch OLED came out, we only had red and blue Joy-Cons and white. So that gray was completely gone. By the time the Switch 2 OLED model would come out, I would maybe assume that the black Joy-Cons would be phased out by then. We would have special editions. I think once we get the Switch off the shelf, Switch OLED off the shelf, Switch Lite off the shelf, I think we might also get red and blue Switch 2 Joy-Cons. Exactly the same as this right here, right? Same colors, just for the Switch 2. But right now, that's kind of confusing if you had a Switch 2 model with the same Joy-Cons as a Switch. Same thing with the Switch OLED. If you had a white Switch OLED out and a white Switch 2 OLED and they both had white Joy-Cons, it's like, yeah, what's going on here? I just want to get a console, this one's cheaper, I'm going to get this one instead of the Switch 2. So yeah, if we do get a white Switch 2, like I said, all the evidence is pointing towards that. I really do think it's a Switch OLED model, and I don't think it's going to take like 4 or 5 years for this to happen. I think 3 years at most. Now this is a crazy thing here. I needed to get the Switch OLED. Obviously didn't need it, but when I seen the Switch compared to the Switch OLED, I thought, dude, that's such an amazing upgrade. Bigger screen, better stand, and better screen. by the time the Switch 2 OLED comes out, if I have extra money laying around, sure, I'll upgrade then, and I'll probably trade in my Switch 2, or maybe I won't, you know what I mean? Now, if I don't have extra money laying around, I actually don't think I would care that much, because the HDR on the Switch 2 looks incredible. So, is it really that big of an upgrade to an OLED screen? Maybe the blacks will be blacker, some of the colors will be more brighter, but unless they do something else with the screen, which is like, do they make it bigger? I don't think it needs a bigger screen. I don't know what else they could do to make me want to buy it. And this is honestly one of the few times where I think I don't care about an upgrade, at least in handhelds, right? I have a PS5, I don't care about a PS5 Pro at all. But this is all very crazy news, very shocking stuff. But ladies and gentlemen, what do you think about this? Because your opinion matters most. In the comments below, I would love to hear from you guys. If you made it to this part of the video, hit a like and subscribe if you enjoy the content. Follow everyone on Twitter and Instagram so we can keep our communities growing. And make sure you like and comment on every single video. And I'm giving away multiple Switch 2s. I'm giving away eShop gift cards every single Saturday to my amazing community. And yeah, that's pretty much it. You guys and me, I'll see you very soon with a new video. Peace out.